Hi everybody. We're going to take a look at Luxe Apple Orchard's Autumn Photoshop Actions. This is a beautiful seasonally themed set that comes with 100 actions that are applicable to images shot in both RAW and JPEG. Now there's a lot to cover in this set, so let's go ahead and dive right in. First, let me give you a quick tour of the actions included in this set. We have general workflow actions, face and skin, a collection of brushes, vignettes, color effect bases, filters, light leaks, sunbursts, grain effects, and sharpening effects. This first image is a wonderful example of what these effects can accomplish. I say that because this is an outdoor scene shot in a field, where you have this little girl on a farm wearing a dress and boots, and pretty much all things that scream autumn. But everything is so green and dark, it doesn't have those color themes that we associate with the fall season. Also, while it's a nice photograph on the face of it, it's a little bit boring. There's no real drama, and that's something that we're going to need to fix. So where do we start? Well, how about we start by taking this image to a different time? As it stands, this could have been taken at any point on a cloudy day. Let's give it a morning or evening look by going to our color bases, selecting golden hour, and pressing play to initiate the action. And we can see that we've already changed the general feel of the photograph. Now, I like where that's going, so let's take it a bit further by adding a warm filter effect. I like that as well. But now you might start to notice that these color alterations are fairly universal to the photograph. The light isn't necessarily directing our attention to any particular point in the image, and we don't have a very good sense of where our light source is coming from. So let's start fixing that by applying a vignette that won't so much darken the photograph as it will direct the focus of the viewer onto the girl so our eyes just don't wander around the image so much. We can do that by applying the Fire Vignette. Now we're really starting to see some drama come into the image, and importantly, it's an appropriate kind of drama. What I mean by that is it's becoming clear as we progress that in order to help this image reach its full potential, maybe we shouldn't just focus on color alone, but focus on a light source. Because this is an outdoor photograph, and we have a little bit of sky in the top left corner coming out from the tree lines, we have an opportunity here to apply what I think is one of the most fun and dramatic effects you can apply to any photograph. And that is to actually bring the sun into play. To do that, we're going to apply a golden sunburst effect. Now, this is an effect that we can move around and reshape and place wherever we would like on the photograph. In this case, we're going to move the center of the effect, what would essentially be the sun itself, completely off screen, so the residual light has the appearance of coming from somewhere beyond this opening in the tree lines. Even more, you can adjust the opacity of this effect to your own taste. For myself, I would want to put this somewhere between 30 and 40%. And how cool is that? Now we're really looking at an intriguing image now, but I still want to take this further because I'm really enjoying where this photograph is going. So what else could we do? Well, we're dealing with a wide open space in this image, so let's try to add a bit of depth to emphasize that. Let's go up to General Workflow and apply Depth Contrast. Now it's important to note here that this effect is not always the most desirable on skin. In this particular image, it's not as big of an issue as it might be if you were doing an up-close portrait. But let me go ahead and show you how to correct that if it were. If you go to the effect and click on the layer mask, you can paint with the opposite color of that mask to undo the effect in particular areas of the image. Here, we would use a soft brush to paint black over the skin and reverse the effect. Okay, and that's looking pretty good. Now that I'm thinking in those terms, maybe I'd like to utilize layer masks on another layer. Let's go back to the golden hour color base and let's take some of that color away from the bottom and bottom right of the image so we can kind of cool off the areas that are furthest away from the light source. This will help give the image even more depth and more drama. Now let me put all the effects that we've applied so far into a single group so I can toggle back and forth and show you what we've accomplished here. These are some really spectacular changes that we've made, and I'm feeling completely satisfied with what this image has become. But since we're here, I want to go ahead and try out a couple other effects, just to show you how creative you can be with the actions in this set. Looking at this picture, it reminds me a little bit of Dorothy from The Wizard of Oz, so I'm going to play with a black and white filter really quick. If you're really into stylized special effects, you'll get a kick out of these kinds of options. If we apply a black and white filter, we'll still retain the lighting adjustments that we've made, but we will obviously lose the color. Now, I love the fact that she's walking into the light and even kind of taking this one dramatic step into the field. So what if we paint over the layer mask to let in just a little bit of color and leave the rest of it in black and white? And how cool is that? It's almost like she's stepping out of Kansas and into Oz. I just wanted to show you that because it's really important to remember all the creative things that you can do with these tools being provided. So always keep that in mind. Now let's go ahead and hop over to the second photograph. Now this is an absolutely gorgeous composition. Unlike the first photograph we worked on, we don't really need to completely overhaul the colors here. I like these colors. They're appropriate to the subject, so we want to focus on refining and enhancing what is already fantastic here. So let's start by laying down a color base that will enhance the colors we already have. Let's click Pumpkin Patch and press play. Now that's a pretty dramatic color, and we don't need all of it. So we'll turn the opacity down to somewhere between 30 and 40%. Now, similar to the last photo, I want to use a vignette here to really emphasize the dynamic between the girl and the horse. So let's try a warm vignette effect. And that's looking pretty good, and as I'm looking at this, I really like the textures happening here. And so we should see what we can do to enhance that sense or feel of the wood and the hay and that kind of aura of a barn. And we can do that with depth contrast. Now, something else I would like to do here is to help build some common ground between the horse and the girl. And we're going to do that with color. You can see that the girl's hair and the horse's coat are very similar in color. I want to take that relationship further by paying a little more attention to the girl's white shirt and the horse's mane. So I'm going to select the Dodge and Burn from General Workflow. Press play. And now I'm going to paint with white on the Dodge layer and try to brighten and soften the horse's mane just a little bit and highlight the fact that the colors of the horse and the girl are mirroring one another. Now again, I really love where this is going, so instead of stopping here, I'm just going to keep seeing what other cool effects we might want to apply. Let's go to Light Leaks and try one of those. Let's go ahead and select Damaged Cam and see what we can do with that. And I really like that effect, but I don't think that we need quite so much of it. So let's make it extremely faint and almost subliminal by turning the opacity down to somewhere between 10 and 20%. And that's excellent. Now we've done all the effects and I like the way that they're all working together. So I'm going to go ahead and put them in a group and toggle back and forth so we can kind of see where we've come. Now that we've placed all the effects into a group, we can take a step back from all the combinations of actions that we've applied and make a decision as to how much we want them as a whole to affect the original image. You can do that by changing the opacity of the entire group to whatever extent you would like. I think here we can probably turn it down to about 60% or so and still have a very impactful change to the image. And now we can see again before and after. These are just a couple quick examples of the many effects you can achieve with the Luxe Apple Orchard Autumn Actions. This is a seasonally themed package that's good for all seasons. The sky is the limit for what you can apply these actions to, and I recommend trying it out for yourself and really get creative with your photography. I hope you enjoyed this brief introduction to the Autumn Photoshop Actions, and we'll be seeing you around. Bye-bye now.